back to another stream. My name is Kashfi Fahim, software engineer based in New York. West Hempstead, Long Island, New York. Let's see. Today on the stream, we're going to be we're going to continue the JavaScript algorithms and data structure certification. We're going to work on the learn the date object by building a date formatter project. The description of this project is as goes. Working with dates in JavaScript can be challenging. You have to navigate through various methods, formats, and time zones. In this project, you learn how to work with the JavaScript date object, including its methods and properties. You'll also learn how to correctly format dates. This project will cover concepts such as getDate, getMonth, getFullYear methods. I want to start by giving kudos to FreeCodeCamp, because when I read this description, it reminds me of a time when a friend of mine was working with a JavaScript project. He was actually working with a production application, a web app that was using JavaScript, and what he had to do was work with data objects, where he was creating these restaurant cards, or like profiles for restaurants, and all the restaurants open at 6 p.m. and they closed like 2 a.m. in the following morning. And he was just having a hard time figuring out how to implement those date times. So I'm thinking, I think he got over it after he understood how to use the datetime object, here the JavaScript date object. So something as simple as that, don't take it for granted. And I'm not taking it for granted, so it's a small little project, but I know I'm looking forward to learning new things from it. I haven't done this one before, so, or any of the other ones before. So let's just get started. And the first thing that I like to do with my projects is create a repo on GitHub. There usually is a button when it's smaller. JavaScript. We're just gonna call it JavaScript Date object. Cool. Now I'm gonna open up my editor. Let me just check those messages. Over on VS Code, I have my GitHubs connected to my VS Code. I connected by signing in here and giving you permission to access the GitHub. So now when I go to the source control clone repository, you can just... This kind of bypasses the command line stuff, which I've done before, but I just feel like this is a lot faster. Alright, let's start project. This is what it looks like. guess there's no input outputs. It's just today's date, different formats. In this project you will learn about the JavaScript Date object by building a date formatter. All of the HTML and CSS have been provided for you. Kinda don't like that. Takes some of the fun out of it. It's like additional practice that we could have gone through. But let's also just read it. So we're not going to be making it. Reading is fundamental, so let's see. Oops. Just got index, got styles, got script. It's not a big HTML file, so let's build it up. So in VS Code, if you press exclamation point, it's an abbreviation. Abbreviation gives you like a boilerplate HTML file stuff. Let's get our link. Oh, there's a new meta here for Edge browsers. That's cool. I like having my style sheet here. Oops. Then the title. Like here's the head. Here's the main. Title container. H1 class title. Then they have an SVG, scalar vector graphic. I'm gonna copy that. Let's see what it looks like so far. Okay. Then closes that div. Just a title container. Let's open new div, the class, drop down container. Date options. copy and pasting. Already. Oh, I see. Div SVG. And finally, after main, we got the script. Let's look at the styles next. This is the star operator, and these rules apply to everything in our document. Here, in the root selector, we're defining some CSS variables. These variables are then later called by using the var function and plugging the variable. So this essentially replaces this. There's the title container, the title, the date SVG, the divider. Didn't see any divider classes. Let's select icon. So let's apply that. Nice. So I think that is what we're supposed to have. Yep, I don't have a divider. Strange. Let's see. Maybe I missed it somewhere. Right here. It's right before drop-down container. And now we should see it. Boom. Cool. Alright, just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to select all and paste. Ready to go. Our instructions are in the script.js. So my version of the project will be on top, and their version will be on the bottom. Another thing I like doing is having the online stopwatch. Just to help take breaks. Maybe not stopwatch, but countdown. Let's do a 45-minute session. And after 45 minutes, we'll take a 10-minute break. If we need that much time. It's a small little project, so 45 minutes should be more than enough time. Alright, let's get going. In this project, you will learn about JavaScript Date object by building a date formatter. All of the HTML and CSS has been provided for you. Start by getting the current date element using the getElementById method and assign it to const variable call. Okay. So what this instruction is saying is get the current date element. Where is the current so what we're looking for is there's an element that has the ID current date. So let's do a find. Okay, that's the PID. It's somewhere all the way in the bottom here. Where is it? Here. Here, okay. So it starts off empty, and I'm guessing with JavaScript we're going to manipulate it. So the JavaScript programmatically fill this text part with the current date. The first step is to select it. Then we're going to select it with the getElementById function, and we're going to pass in the ID current date into that function. And then we're going to get that object, and we're going to store it in a const variable called the current date paragraph. So let's put that into action. First I'm going to, since we're going left to right, we're going to do the const and do the current date paragraph. It's the left side of the equal sign. And on the right side of the equal sign, we're getting the element ID. To get the element ID through JavaScript, we gotta use the document object. Then we use the getElementID function. By ID. So here it says it takes a string that specifies the ID value, and it returns a reference to the first object, the value of ID. And with IDs, there can only be one object. Well, yeah, one object with the ID. And if you did elements by class, then you'd have multiple objects of that class. And I guess you'd then have to use select all and stuff like that, get all. Anyway, long story short, getElementById gets us the first object with that reference. That references that ID. So here we're going to use current date, and don't forget the semicolon. Let's copy that. We're ready to go to the next one. So we got the current date paragraph. Now they're asking us to get the date option select element. Which one's that? Date options. Okay, so it's this one. Date options. All these three. Okay. And the same concept you used here, we're going to just do the same for get the date options select element. So the concept is on the left side of the equal sign, you're going to do the const and the name of the constant variable. Then on the right side, we're doing the document.getElementById. So, so this, all this code is, it's connecting to this object, and over here we're naming that connection so that we can work on it. Otherwise you'd have to write this over and over again. So it's much simpler to just use this label and all the methods and properties that this object has. So let's do the const paste here. In JavaScript, there are many built-in constructors that create objects. Constructor is like a regular function, but starts with a capital letter and is initialized with a new operator. If you're just starting out in JavaScript or programming, this is going to be a little confusing. I feel for you, because it was confusing for me too when it started out. But you have to learn it over time. But new, it creates and allocates memory, creates a new object, and if you're very new, if you're new to programming, that's just going to go over your head. So okay, but main things, constructor is a function, right? And it's used to instantiate, and I'm probably going to lose you with that word too. Let's do the code. Well, they have an example here, so somewhere, someone before us, maybe a team or group of people, decided to write code for date, right? And in order to for us to have access to that code and all the functions and operators that the team worked on for our project, we sort of have to create a new object, and you use the keyword new along with this constructor function to say, hey, give me a new date object, and I want you to connect to that date object with the variable current date, so that now you can now you have that new object with the name current date. So here they're printing out the current date, gives us the date. Yeah, so if this is your first time exposed to this kind of jargon, oh yeah, here. It's like when you're reading a book and you come upon a new word. What you should do is have a little notebook or Anki, which I like to do. So JavaScript, add front of the card, a constructor, back of the card. Yep. So you're learning a new word, and just like back in the old days when you're trying to learn new words for SAT, PSATs, plug it in and review it, and over time that word becomes part of you. And it's good that you're here at Free Code Camp so you can exercise recalling and applying what that means. Alright, so let's do that. What are they asking us? Create a new const variable called date. Okay, const variable called date. And assign it. When it says assign it, it means equal a date object with new. So assign it new date. pause for a moment so Free Code Camp could do their advertisement. Step 4. The date object has a number of methods that allow you to get the date and time in different formats. One of those is the .getDate method, which returns a number between 1 and 31 that represents the day of the month with the date. For example, const date equals new date, which we did. Now if I wanted to save the day of the month, we would get the getDate value from the date object and save it in the day of the month. When you're programming, there's a lot of data, and so like here, this date object can give you a lot of things, right? Let's look at it. Yeah. So we can do getDate like they want. That one date object allows you to, it gives you access to all this data by using the get. All the functions with the get prefix gives you data, and all the functions that set prefix allows you to put in data to the object. And it's a good practice, I guess, to separate things out, organize your code in a way where you're separating the day, you're calling the day from the date object and storing it in a variable specifically for day of the month. You would do the same for month of the month, month of the year of the decade, etc., etc. Let's check out their constructors. When called as a constructor, it returns a new date object. When called as a function, it returns a string representation of the current date and time. Oh, I see. So if I didn't do the new, it would just be a normal function, and it would give us a string representation of the current date and time. Let's try that out. If you go to, where is it? View, Developer, JavaScript Console. I'm going to Command L to clear. Let's just call the date. Boom. It's giving us the time, date and time. And now if I do what we just did, date now has different, date has all these different functions. Date.getDate with the parentheses returns 27 for today's 27th February. Date.get time 1709 17. Yeah, what is that? Is it 1709? I don't know what military time that is. Get hours. Listen, if you forget to put the parentheses, it'll just return the function, reference to a function. So it's very important to remember to put the parentheses after the function call. Yeah, get hours is right, 16. Alright, that's cool. Okay, what is asking us here? Using const, create a variable named day and assign it the day of the month. So a couple keywords. When it says assign it, it means you're going to use the equal sign somewhere. And the way they've written it, they're saying on the left side, create the const, then assign it to the right side, which is the date, getDate. That's how I'm reading it. Const day equals date dot get date. Let me open up the keylime so you guys can see my keystrokes on the right hand side. Alright, next the getMonth method returns a number between 0 and 11. This represents the month or the date provided, where 0 is January, 11 is December. Because the number of this method returns a 0 base, you need to add a 1 to get the expected month. Using const, create a variable called month and assign it to the month from date. Alright, date.getMonth. And +1. Otherwise, if you didn't add that +1 and it was January, you'd get 0. And every other month is off by 1, so you'd read it incorrectly. So let's open up to demonstrate that. Oops. Let's demonstrate that confusion. Const date equals new date. Now if I wanted to do month without the +1, right? Date.getMonth. Oops. Date.getMonth. It's month 1. But we're not in January, we're in February, it should be 2. That's why I got to date times +1 and then print out month 2. There you go. Correct answer. Let's leave this somewhere nearby. Alright, so let's copy that, paste it here. Step 6. Get the full year. Method returns a number which represents a year provided date. Const year equals date.getFullYear. Let's try it over here. $2024, nice. Get hours, okay. Const hours, date.get hours. Hours, okay. Oh, there's also 0's been 923. Well, that's standard. Military time is 00. That makes sense. So you don't have to do a +1 here. The dot get minutes method returns a number between 0 and 59. Alright, let's try that. Const minutes. MINUTS. Oh, I misspelled it. Const minutes equals date dot get minutes. Oops. No, minutes. 25. It's 28, but const minutes equals date dot get minutes. Next, create a variable called formatted date and assign an empty template literal. Empty template literals. If you don't know what that is, it's just these two ticks. You can find the tick next to the number 1 on your keyboard. It's the tilde operator, but it's not the tilde. Tilde is shift, and you get the back tick without the shift. And what you can do with these ticks is that inside you can plug in variables. That variable gets rendered in your and returned as a string. So what they're doing is formatted date variable is going to be this template literal, and what I'm guessing is in the following steps we're gonna probably put in like minutes. I think it's hours, minutes. If we were going to like a time. And then it would show the value of hours here, the value of minutes here, you still have, and it'll all be displayed as a string. Let me show you here then. Const formatted. I'm just going to do formatted time. Okay. Then plus equals. Can I do that? Hours plus minutes. Oh, okay. Oh, because it's a const. Interesting. So this wouldn't work the way, because we define it as a const. So how are they going to make it work? Let's find out. I shall learn something new. Let's go const. Let's see what they got for us. Okay. They're just gonna build inside of it. Step by step. So now we put the day in. Add an embedded expression that contains the day variable. That is the day variable, right? Check our code. Oh, my bad. I'm printing the whole thing. After the day, add a dash, followed by another embedded expression of that month. after a month, year. Yep, so my approach was wrong because it's a const. And you can't really... I was doing a concatenation to a const. Whatever. Didn't work. Wasn't gonna work. To see the results, open up the console, check your code. Oh. Boom. Use the text content property on current date paragraph to set as text content a value format date variable. Alright, so that's going to now bring up the date here in the P element that we saw earlier, and which we stored this reference of it stored in this variable, constant variable, current date paragraph. Searching current date paragraph, the text content, and setting it to formatted date. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, save. There it is. That line of code. So we got the date object. Using that date object, we're getting the current day, month, year, hours, minutes. And then we used its templated the backticks to interpolate those and embed those variables. And then we're assigning what we got here, and we're putting it into the HTML by using the .content property. So if we inspect this HTML now, where's HTML? HTML, please. Yeah, the P current ID date. For our HTML, it's empty, but now that we use JavaScript to save that object and then programmatically, input that formatted date through the text content function. And now it's there. But over on our side, it's still empty. This is like programmatically putting things on our webpage. If we were to put the current date right there, it would stay the same date. Like tomorrow wouldn't update. But with JavaScript, when you load the page, all this code will run each time you load the page. So the date tomorrow will get up to date. And every time the code gets run, it's getting the new date, it's getting the new time, it's getting the new month. And your user will see this date being updated. That's why we're doing it this way. So let's... enough talking. How much time we got left? 15 more minutes. 15 more minutes and we're halfway there. More than halfway. In JavaScript, the change event is used to detect when the value of HTML has changed, okay? Very cool. Anki, call up Anki. Change, we want to use it to check when the value of an HTML element has changed. Attach the event listener method to a date option select element. Attach, okay. Oh, I see, okay. Date options, something we've saved earlier. Page, okay, dot add event listener. And now, in another project we used click. So when the mouse button is clicked, it runs a function. But here is when it checks a change. And we're passing in a callback function. Empty arrow function. What's going on? Oh, it's supposed to be a comma. When a user makes a selection from the drop-down menu, the function should get the user's value and display the date in the chosen date format. To do this, you can use the switch statement. Good. Switch statement is used to compare an expression against multiple possible values. I'm already familiar with that, but I still want to add it to my deck. So we're connected to this object, and here we're just getting access to the value that was saved in this object. And by using that value, a switch operator is going to read that value, and now we're going to give them options to return something depending on what the value of this is. Alright, the case clause checks for a match of the expression. Add a case, one of the values. Let me just see what the options are. The options are okay. These are all strings. Might be because let me just double quote it. Current date paradox text content formatted date looks like that. That is not the correct formatted date though. Okay. Didn't really change anything. You should add a case where the condition is year, MMDD. Good. Then set the text content properly. Formatted date. Am I spelling something wrong? Case. Some case. What if it's that's definitely wrong, I think. Yep. Okay, I have a switch expression. Case. Yes. I don't need parentheses. Where is the parentheses here? No parentheses. So parentheses was the issue. Split the formatted date into an array of substrings with the dot split method and use a separator. Split. Where is it being saved to? Oh, my bad. It's saying split this, so it's gonna get day, month, and year. The dot reverse method is reverse an array in place. Yep. Earlier I was concerned like how are they doing formatted date when it's day, month, year, and here it's doing year, month, day. And they just did a split. Now this array that's being passed, the first value of the array is going to be day, the second is month, and the third one's year. And with the reverse, it's going to be year, month, day. which is what they wanted. Dot reverse. And it's a function. Finally, to create the string with the reversed array separated by dash. Use the join method. You get rid of it, you reverse it, then you add the join. Welcome to JavaScript. Format date, dot split, dot reverse, dot join for that one object. Add a break statement to end of your case. Yep. Break. Otherwise, it would just return all the cases. Now the next one. DD HMM. Same thing as before. And we're going to empty string literal because we're going to probably develop it over the next couple of shadow case with conditions. Oops. Now we're going to build it up. What is it? Month. Day. Year. Hours. Minutes. Oh, there's no dash. Oh, there you go. End of our project. Save your month date. Just in time. 50 seconds left. So let's make a commit. Complete a project. Push it. Let's let page. So that'll deploy the page. Check your code. Congratulations. One more project completed in 45 minutes. Give me some effects. Give me some fireworks. There we go. Give me some balloons. Confetti. Yeah. I'm gonna end the stream here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave a comment in the stream replay, and I will get back to you on that. Thanks for joining me. Have a good one. Peace.